Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers. This morning I'm looking at a book which has come to us from Cambridge University Press. They're an excellent publisher, very much in the mainstream now of current legal thought in the 21st century. Delighted to be able to review their books. This is one of their handbook series. It's called the Cambridge Handbook of Social Enterprise Law, and it's been edited by two people, Benjamin Means and Joseph W. Yockey. I've given it a title for our book review of the following: an outstanding handbook on the different aspects of social law, which is very much to the fore, of course, in the 21st century, as we see ahead with people becoming better educated and more aware of rights and their requirements and obligations in a much more competitive and a much more different environment certainly from the 20th century. Let's look at the book first of all. It's a hardback it's got a nice dust cover. There's the front of it, there's the spine, and then there's the back, and you see there's quite a lot of blurb on the back there. Now if I open it up at the back, it just tells you a little bit about the two people who've written this book. Both of them are professors. Benjamin is Professor of Law at the University of South Carolina School of Law, and Joseph is Professor at the Michael and Brenda Sandler Faculty Fellow in Corporate Law at the University of Iowa. So you can see very detailed. Now in the dust cover at the front you can see the information there as well about the book. It's a heavy book for a hardback. There isn't an index at the back, but what you do have, again, you can see the structure. You have a conclusion for the chapters, and you do have lots of footnoting at the bottom. Now, if I go to the front of the book, you can see at the front, we've therefore got some blurb about the book itself, which I shall be referring to in the review. Then we've got the actual front page itself there. Then we've got the blurb from the Cambridge University Press and a dedication. I'd like you to just see that dedication. We only review books which we think are important. We don't review books that aren't very good. And I do realise how much work goes into this, so the dedications I think are very important for the people who've patiently sat by while the people have been working very hard. Now you can see what we've got here is the structure of the book, the content section, and the names of the people who've been involved in the various parts. They're all named. There are a total of 7 parts. You can see the running all the way through, starting off with theoretical, then historic, then you've got tax and finance, choice of form, fiduciary obligations and governance. So you've got a fairly good idea of where we are. Then there are figures and tables of information. That's the list of the contributors. I can't mention them all by name, but a large number of people involved in this, all very senior people. Then there's acknowledgements, and then actually the introduction from the two editors, which sets the scene very nicely, the theoretical and the historical contexts, and of course politics, tax and finance, all basically the parts of the book itself. Then we start off right at the beginning with part 1, the theoretical framework. You can see how it's structured. Part 1 there, then there's a little bit of footnoting all the way through. There's no paragraph numbering, but you can see the footnoting all the way through. And it runs to something approaching 450 odd pages. That's the book anyway, and as I say, do have a look at our review, which is on the web and in the journals. We called it an outstanding handbook. It is like most of the handbooks from Cambridge University Press, which we've seen anyway, very highly developed in terms of the detail and the content, and will be of great help, I think, to both practitioners and academics alike. The only thing is it's quite a heavy read, and I make no bones about that. It's a heavy book in all senses of the word. So what do we say? The publishers, Cambridge University Press, have identified that growing numbers of employees, consumers and investors look for companies to be truly good. Such a mark of excellence is very much in keeping with modern corporate policy, so we welcome this book edited by Benjamin Means and Joseph Yockey and the 27 contributors to this work. The authors state in what is an excellent and valuable new handbook in our opinion that, quote, these stakeholders will accept lower economic returns in order to support companies that prioritise sustainability, fair wages and fair trade. Unlike charities or non-profit organisations, such companies or social enterprises are not only permitted but also expected to produce an economic return for investors. And I think that's the very important point for us to bear in mind in the 21st century. Such views are clearly the wave of the future for good corporate governance. Yet, unlike traditional business ventures, social enterprises do not have an obligation to maximise profits, even for the long term. So in this comprehensive volume, the editors Means and Yockey have drawn together leading legal scholars and practitioners to offer an authoritative guide to social enterprise law and policy, and that's exactly what we get. It's the latest in a series of Cambridge handbooks, and this one obviously covers social enterprise law, as they call it. It's rightly been described as taking stock of the field, and it charts a course for its future development. And I'm sure that this is very much something that many people will, of the younger workforce today, the younger people coming ahead in this century, will find very important, because we are changing the way in which we are viewing some of the way we approach what is now called social enterprise law. And it's all about the balance between the way in which companies work, because it's not an attack on capitalism, for instance. What it's trying to do is to try to get the right blend and balance in. And we feel then that the handbook will be of general interest to a very wide readership in the future, and it should be read, of course, by the following: entrepreneurs, naturally, investors, practitioners, academics, students, and anyone else interested in how companies are evolving to address new demands for capitalism with a conscience, which is really what this is about. The 27 expert contributors have covered some important areas for those researching or practicing in the main areas of social law. They include the following, and this is the little list, which is of course in the book and listed most, basically will be on the internet as well, but for the written work I've got to list them. So it's providing a diverse set of legal perspectives in the emerging social enterprise field, and the contributors from the US and international scholars and practitioners we think will actually be very interested, and the work itself will appeal, of course, across the globe in America, obviously the United Kingdom and Europe, and elsewhere in the world, because I believe this is an issue which is going to become more important as the century unfolds. Let me conclude by saying we consider that this title will serve as a one-stop legal resource for scholars and practitioners working in social enterprise and corporate law, and will be a welcome addition to your law library. And of course the hardback book, this one here, was first published on the 3rd of January 2019. Now let's just have one last look at it. There it is. It's a heavy book, this one. There's the front, then there's the spine, and then there's the back. Just opening it in the middle. Social Enterprise Crowdfunding in New Zealand by Andrew A. Schwartz. I just picked that as an example. You can see the structure. There's an introduction. There's obviously footnoting. There's a certain amount of paragraph numbering as such, lots of footnoting, and then of course right at the back, excuse me, over the back you will get a conclusion, which again I think is nice, because as you get with a lot of these books, you get a beginning, a middle and an end. And that's what we're really looking for. Anyway, thank you to Benjamin and Joseph very much indeed, the two professors, for producing a first-class book, and also to Cambridge University Press for overseeing everything. Thank you to all. Bye-bye.